I don't know the last time that you've had crack, but I'm about to show you one of the best burger recipes of the summer, and that is a smoked and seared crack burger. There's been a new burger recipe on the block for the past couple months, and people are going crazy about that, and that is the crack burger recipe. The main ingredient and the thing that sets this apart from most is the ranch seasoning packet that's used in with these burgers. Now, I've seen a few different variations of this recipe and they have all looked great, but today we're gonna put a spin on it that I haven't seen anyone do. Today, what we are going to do is we are gonna take this recipe and we're gonna smoke the burgers on my Camp Chef Woodwind Pro, and then we're gonna hit them with the all new Camp Chef Gridiron 36 griddle, and we're gonna sear them. Now come on in here and let's get started with this recipe. So I'll tell you a little bit of backstory about smoked burgers and why I've decided to take this burger to the smoker instead of just hitting it with the griddle to begin with. When we first started the channel, the very first real cook that we ever did was a smoked burger, and that was the first time I'd ever had something like that in my entire life. And to be honest with you, it changed me forever. Ground meat soaks up so much smoke flavor, and they are absolutely delicious and unlike any burgers you're gonna get elsewhere. So why not take this summer's most popular burger recipe and give it a bath in the smoke before we give it a beautiful sear? And that's exactly what we're gonna do today. So for this recipe, everything will be down in the description in terms of specific measurements, but we're gonna start out with 1 pound of ground chuck, this 80-20 ground chuck. We have 1 cup of shredded cheddar cheese. We have a 1/4 cup of crumbled bacon. And this is not the stuff you buy in the bag. This is bacon that I cooked and chopped up myself. Then we're gonna take 3 tablespoons of sour cream. We're gonna get that down in there as well. And our drug of choice for today, and that is going to be the Hidden Valley Ranch Dressing Seasoning. And the last thing you're gonna need is a barbecue rub. Typically, you're gonna look for something basic like a salt, pepper, garlic. This is the rub I use on my briskets, my pork shoulders, a very good all-purpose rub. I'll put the recipe in the description as well in case you wanna make my rub. But you're gonna look for about a tablespoon, tablespoon and a half, depending on how salty the rub is. Now it's mixing time. Now the one thing, this is not a meatloaf. We don't wanna overwork the meat. So do your best to just blend everything together without mashing this into a giant ball. And you can see that the meat is still nice and crumbly. I'm not really mashing it together yet. I'm still just mixing all of this in. Now it's time to patty these up. Now, you can make these as thick or as thin as you want, but for a smoked burger, I like them to be pretty good sized, about that 1/3 of a pound to 0.4 pounds in general. So for me, that's gonna be about a palm-sized ball. I'm gonna set those off to the side as I put them together, just to make sure I've done my hand measuring appropriately. You know you've made a lot of burgers when you have a perfectly empty bowl and your plan was 4 patties and they are all equally sized. That's exactly what we're looking for today. Now, one thing when it comes to smoked burgers is they typically shrink up and get tall in the center and they almost turn into a ball. So you're gonna wanna smash them a little bigger than you normally would. And a little trick that I have seen, I've not done it yet, but that is to just put a thumb print on the inside of the patty right here. That's gonna help prevent the burger from receding back to the center. Putting those little thumb indentations there into the center. We've got our 4 patties. We've got the smoker fired up to 225 degrees. Let's get over there and get them on. Now we're over here at the Camp Chef Woodwind Pro. I've got this thing running at 225 degrees. That's a great smoke setting because it's gonna bring these up to temperature slower, give it more time for this meat to absorb the smoke. Today we're running cooking pellets in the actual Woodwind, and we are running some oak chunks down in the smoke box. As you can see, it's producing a beautiful smoke. It's time to get these on. Now, I want them to get a smoke bath. I don't want them to grill. I know we're at a low temperature, but that means I want to keep these burgers away from the heat source, essentially. And because we only have 4, I might as well keep them up front where I can get the most work done. It's time to get them closed, and we want to just let these bathe in that smoke at 225 until we reach about 145 degrees internal temperature on those patties. We'll be using my ThermaPen 1 instant read thermometer. This here is my favorite. I've found it to be the most accurate, and they come with a lab calibration certificate. You really can't beat this. I use it all the time, and we're gonna be using it today, not only when they're on the smoker, but when we've got them over there on the Gridiron 36, when we're searing them on that flat top. Get yourself a beer, enjoy the beautiful weather. We've got a little bit of time. I'm thinking about 40, 45 minutes or so before we even need to think about these burgers. It's been 45 minutes. ThermaWorks ThermaPen 1 time. Let's get in here and check the temperatures on these burgers. We're seeing 145, 149, and 145. It is time to get these over to the griddle. As you can see, the burgers really didn't shrink. So pressing that little indentation in the middle definitely helped. And you can see we've got a beautiful red color, and that's what we're looking for with the smoke. That's just adding additional flavor to these burgers. Cheese is melting. I can see the bacon in there. Everything looks good. Let's get them over here to the griddle. Griddle's sitting about 390, 400 degrees here. These are gonna sear up nicely. Need to get it greased up with a little bit of Wagyu beef tallow from South Chicago Packing. This stuff is gold when it comes to griddle work. Oh, and listen to that sizzle. You know that sear is about to be incredible when you hear sounds like that. All right, let's see what kind of work we've done here with that sear. Oh, now that is beautiful. Time to do the rest. Oh, that color is absolutely perfect. We'll give these a moment to sear here. We want to keep making that beautiful crust. We also want to pay attention to that internal temperature. Now this is store-bought ground beef. Because we didn't personally handle it, we want to make sure that it is cooked appropriately because you could get yourself sick. Now, but I don't know who handled it, so we're going 165 for this. When it comes to burgers, people are gonna put all kinds of cheeses on there. I've even done it myself, but nothing competes with the good old American Kraft singles. So that's what we're gonna do. Now you notice I have them nearly touching. It has all about making the cheese melt. And I'm gonna show you a little trick, if you're new to griddles, on what you can do to make this cheese melt better than any other way. Get yourself something to dome over the top of the burgers. Now this came in the Camp Chef Smash Burger Kit. This is specifically for this purpose. But get yourself a little bit of water, get yourself a lid. This could be a lid to your favorite soup pot. Squirt a little bit of water down on the griddle like this. Cover it up. That steam is gonna do everything we need to get that cheese perfectly melted. At the same time, pick a good bun. These are fresh brioche buns. These are our absolute favorite. We're just gonna throw these down here onto the griddle, get them toasted just a little bit. Check out that cheese. It's melting just like I told you. Leave it there for just a moment. Yeah, just a perfect golden brown. Look at that. Now that is perfect. It's time to get these off the griddle and look at how frickin' beautiful those are. Let's get these over to the table for final prep. I will see you there with some delicious burgers. Now these burgers are done and I am ready to get my crack fix for the day, but we have to build our burger. You can put anything you want on there. You could put some Heinz ketchup, some ballpark mustard, some Japanese mayo, pickles, relish, onion, whatever you want. I'm not gonna tell you how you should enjoy your burgers, and I think it's important to give this a try without loading it up with a bunch of condiments. So here I've got my toasted bun, here I've got my smoked and griddle seared crack burger. We're gonna throw that on the bun just like so. I wanna know what this crack burger tastes like. It's very difficult to describe. To be honest with you, the only word I can think of is delicious. The bacon, the grease, the cheese, and that ranch seasoning gives it a very creamy and savory taste that goes along with it. That is one delicious burger. Now with this crack burger, there's a few things besides describing it as delicious that I can tell you about it that make it delicious. Smoked burgers in and of themselves have that fourth element. They're like a 4D food because we've introduced that smoke into an area, a burger, where you typically don't get that. And that smoke pairs so well with a good burger. The next element of surprise that comes along with this recipe is that incredible sear. That sear is perfect. We've got a little bit of a crust on the outside. It is delicious. And by far one of the best burgers that I've made, and I did it right here in my backyard. So if you're looking for more recipes like this that are just downright delicious and you can get done in under an hour or so in your backyard, then I suggest you subscribe and check out this video right here.